Geico knows there are many reasons why you ride. From the exciting adventure of the daily commute to the peace of mind that Geico always has your back with 24/7 access to claim service and legendary customer service. But Pamela Mund had one reason in particular.
My skin is extremely averse to most fabrics, except for the soft, buttery feeling of leather. Thankfully, I found my clan of leather lovers in the biking community. It's been life-changing.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Is that Shakespeare?
Nope, it's Geico.
Yeah, that's Shakespeare from one of his unpublished works. Oh, it be not for awakening. Nay, giveth thou the berries. For 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Nope, it's from Geico, because they help save people money.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Geico got it from Shakespeare.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You may be wondering why Doctors Community Medical Center added Luminous Health to our name. It's because we're on a mission to give you and our community even more of the health care that you deserve. That's why we joined Anne Arundel Medical Center to create a broader health system that is Luminous Health. Now delivering you and your family access to more locations, services, and specialty care. Get ready for a bright future with Luminous Health Doctors Community Medical Center. Go to luminoushealth.org to learn more.
Is it a good car?
Oh, you couldn't get a better car for $10,000.
What did it cost you?
$10,000.
Ron Ananian.
I don't know why we have semi-synthetic oil anyway. I don't see the point. Every engineer I talk to tells me that semi-synthetic oil exists primarily because of price point.
I'm your vehicle, baby. I'll take you anywhere you want to go.
The Car Doctor.
The only ones that are threaded are the ones on the bracket for the brake.
First of all, understand, those 4 bolts come off on the inside of the knuckle, and then that bearing and hub as an assembly is just sitting inside the knuckle.
Welcome to the radio home of Ron Ananian, the Car Doctor. Since 1991, this is where car owners the world over turn to for their definitive opinion on automotive repair. If your mechanic's giving you a busy signal, pick up the phone and call in. The garage doors are open.
But I am here to take your calls at 855-560-9900.
And now, here's Ronnie.
I kind of like the nice Abbott and Costello today, Tom. That's a nice touch. Are we into Abbott and Costello this week, or?
Well, I heard that routine driving around this past week, and it was like, I like it, so I'm just going to use it.
They're still classic. I've never heard that one. I actually have.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah, I've never heard that one, so that's good. That's good. So I didn't talk to you last hour. How are you this week? I didn't get a chance to say hello.
Good.
We were busy last hour.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's been a busy week.
Busy week. It's the world keeps changing and evolving in auto repair. It really does. I didn't get a chance to talk about this last hour. I've got an article in front of me. So there are dealers out there, and this came out this past week. The Chevy Bolt is kind of back in the news again for everybody that isn't aware of it. But there are dealers out there that are buying up the 21 model year Bolt. The Bolt is the car that they're talking about how you have to park outside for fear of it catching fire and burning the house down, etc. So the dealers are starting to buy the car up. That GM is going to, they're looking to maybe buy the cars up cheap and then have GM pay the freight to buy them back from the dealer. They're looking to capitalize on the folly of what the Bolt has become. So it's just an interesting article written by Stephen Lang. It's at Inside EEVS's electricvehicles.com. So just kind of a crazy world, Tom. It really is. So what do you got for me? Looks like you have some calls lined up. Let's go over to Sam in Tucson, 03 Buick LeSabre. And a return call. This is a hard start vehicle. Sam, welcome back. What's going on?
Hey, thanks. I talked to you about a month ago, and it was having a hard start problem. I checked the throttle position sensor. That was okay. The fuel pump's Delphi, a couple years old, new fuel filter. And you suggested putting some tissue in the pressure regulator and let it sit there, and I did, and it came out dry.
Okay.
But when I had the vacuum line off, it did smell like fuel pretty bad.
Right.
So I went ahead and replaced the fuel pressure regulator, and it seemed to be working great. And then, like a couple days later, now I have to put the foot on the pedal to keep it to start it again. And it's still not as bad as it was, where I had to keep the foot on the pedal to move it into drive and keep it there for a minute or two after driving, or it would just die.
Okay.
But still, I'm having a hard start problem.
So we're back to a hard start. So let me ask you this. It worked for a couple of days and it was perfect, right?
Yeah.
All right. I don't remember. Were you able to check fuel pressure on this vehicle?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Because we are we're shooting in the dark here. All right. We're shooting in the dark with blanks. It would be nice to know what fuel pressure is. And it might be time to buy a fuel pressure gauge. There's nothing like working on a car to come up with an excuse to buy more tools. He who dies with the most tools wins, right?
Yeah. O'Reilly rents them, so I can rent one.
Rent one. Rent a fuel pressure gauge. You should see between 54 and 60 pounds of pressure, engine running. Key on engine off when it first cycles up, and then you'll see it come down about 5-6 pounds when the engine's running. And then you want to look to see when you shut it off, does it hold pressure? It shouldn't drop more than 5 pounds over a 10-minute time span as a good rule of thumb.
Okay.
All right. If it does, then we're going to have to decide where's the leak. Now, my first comment is that, since you changed the fuel pressure regulator, it worked good, and then all of a sudden it stopped. Do we have a bad new regulator? New doesn't mean good, right? New means never ever worked.
Right.
And that's easy enough. If you just pull that vacuum line back off, run the vehicle, do you see any fuel spritzing out? My tissue comment was because I was concerned. Your original comments to me, I remember, it was so random and intermittent. I was wondering if you had left it sitting there for a period of time. A little bit of fuel on tissue paper, you'll see it right away. It'll get it wet and soggy, and it'll curdle up, and you'll know 1, 2, 3. The other choice you could try is, and keep this in mind for the future, if you find a gasoline-resistant clear plastic line, something like what they would put on small engines, motorcycles, lawnmowers, that type of stuff, you could put that in line with the fuel, with the pressure regulator and the vacuum line. Just put a short clear plastic hose in there, and do you ever see fuel passing by while it's got vacuum attached to it? And sometimes that works better because the vacuum pulling on the regulator will flex the regulator into its normal operating position.
Okay.
All right.
So do you think if the regulator, the new one, is suspect, would you go with OEM? I went with the standard.
Standard makes some good stuff. The problem is, how long ago was it made? One of the things I've gotten into the habit of doing when I buy parts for older vehicles is I will look at the box. Somewhere on that box is a date code of some kind that the manufacturer uses to track their inventory. If I'm pulling a 20-year-old regulator off the shelf for a 20-year-old vehicle and it's dated 2010, now it's 12 years old. Things do wear just from sitting, just from age. They dry out, the rubber components. So that becomes an issue because I can almost guarantee you, they'll overproduce X number of pieces. And it's not like they made a fuel pressure regulator for an 03 Buick yesterday. I guarantee I guarantee it's at least 3 to 5 years old at a minimum. So
when I did pull out the regulator, the original one, I did turn it upside down, and fuel did come out of the vacuum port.
Right, so that's a bad regulator.
Yeah,
that's a bad regulator. So you're on the right track. Listen, all you got to do is prove why the part failed. Never be afraid to prove to yourself why something is bad, and then move on. I don't believe anything until it's fixed. It ain't over till it's over. You know. But do that. Go back and talk to the guys at O'Reilly Auto Parts. You bought the regulator from O'Reilly Auto Parts?
Yes.
Go back and talk to the guys at O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're wonderful people. I'm sure they'll warranty it. I'm sure they'll help you get something, maybe a Delco, or explain the situation. But check fuel pressure first, all right? Yep. Or if you can do the same tissue test to the new regulator, or do you see fuel coming out? Does it smell like fuel? You've got a bad new regulator. Let's start over from there. All right, kiddo?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Keep me posted. Let me know what happens. Let's get over and talk to Sarah in Pennsylvania. 04 Toyota Highlander. Sarah, how is the temperature on this vehicle? Were you able to get it resolved?
Yes, my local mechanic, Goldsberg Car Company, the man in the front there, Brian, said he'd take a look at it, and he took it back, and he tried to fix it. He brought it out, and he said he couldn't do anything. So I explained to him again what you had told me about the ribbon.
Right.
Being broken, and I forget what else you told me. But anyway, so he said, okay, let me try one more thing. Do you have some more time? I said, yeah, I've got time to get this fixed.
Sure.
So, so he took it back, and apparently he did some soldering, brought it out, and it's fixed. He said if it doesn't work, bring it back.
Right.
So that was great. That was like about $250 as opposed to like $1,300 buying a new one.
Right. The new part from Toyota was crazy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
And especially for that car.
Right.
But now I have like a cigarette lighter, which is what I use for my GPS electrical and to charge my phone when I'm driving. Now that doesn't work. So could he have bumped something, or do you think that just stopped working?
I think it just stopped working. The first thing I would do is check the fuse. All right.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't even think about that.
Well, only because, you know, and I see this. I think the number one reason when somebody calls up, either that or comes into the shop and says, "Hey, Ron, my cigarette lighter's not working," it's usually your charger or something you plugged in, because everything's kind of made cheesy in this day and age, and it usually is the charger or the plugged-in device that causes the fuse to blow. You put the new fuse in, it'll work, and then you have to take a look at your charger. It might be time to replace the charger cord if it happens again on a repetitive basis. All right? Because
that's wonderful. That's all it is.
That temperature control head just slides right out, and I don't know of any connection to the cigarette lighter circuit through the control head. I believe everything there is a separate electrical item. All right?
He would know where the fuse is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Go back and talk to him and smile and, just tell him, "Hey, listen, I don't think this is you, but now this stopped working. I think maybe it's a fuse. Can you help me out?" and see what he does. Listen, the guy responded to the first comment of, "That's all I can do," and he took it back and took a second shot at it. That's a guy that cares about you, so I would give him my business.
Oh, thank you. Let me ask you one more question.
Sure.
I've got a rattle.
Right.
It's right underneath where the climate control is. It sounds like it's coming from underneath. A friend of mine who, I don't know if I trust what he said, but he said that it's nothing. I shouldn't worry about it.
Well, it's likely not a life-threatening thing, but I know if you're like me, I wonder where rattles come from. I've got a rattle in my new plow truck that goes away when I tilt the console up. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I'm working on it. So noises bother me. I like things to be quiet. Why don't you mention it to Brian and see what he says? Maybe he'll go, "Oh, yeah, there's a bracket back there I can't get to that I saw when I had the control head out." And at least that'll put your mind at ease.
Yeah, the rattle was there before, but it only happens like if I'm going up a hill and not always going up a hill.
Okay.
Did that add any information?
Well, the first thing I would do is empty the glove box and empty the center console. I would empty and look at all the things that could possibly rattle in the car, and change position with pitch and load and angle, and see what that does. See if that does anything for you. And that's simple. You can do that on your own.
Great idea. Okay, I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome,
Give me
sir.
a bunch of money.
You're very welcome. You be well. Let us know what happens. 855-560-9900. The Car Doctor's cruising back right after this.
To show you how easy it is to file a claim with Geico, we hired a soap opera star.
Gracious me, my car has storm damage and I've had to file a claim. Could it possibly get worse? Will my claims team leave me for someone else? Someone less intense?
No. Actually, when you file a claim with Geico, you get your own dedicated claims team who promises to stay with you throughout the process.
Oh, I've never known such loyalty. I can't wait for the second season.
Geico. Great service without all the drama.
Today on Newsmakers, we're talking with Catherine Schultz, Vice President, Tax and Fiscal Policy for the Business Roundtable. So, Catherine, there's a ton of noise in Washington right now about raising taxes on businesses. Why should our listeners care?
20 to 70% of the corporate tax burden is borne by workers through lower wages and reduced job opportunities, according to estimates by both government and academic economists. And shareholders, who include a majority of Americans, including seniors who have retirement accounts, pensions, or other investments, would see stock values decline due to lower future cash flows.
As we're starting to recover from the pandemic, would raising taxes on businesses impact America's economic trajectory?
While the economy has made tremendous progress since the depths of the pandemic, it remains on fragile ground, and everyone is not coming out of the pandemic equally. Congress should be helping to make it easier for business to invest in workers, innovation, and operations to strengthen the economy and keep America ahead of our Chinese and European competitors.
If hardworking taxpayers were to reach out to their congressman or senator, what would you want them to say?
No tax increases. Elected officials should hear directly from their constituents that tax increases on job creators will move America backwards, resulting in less job opportunities for hard-working Americans, slower wage growth, and a less competitive economy.
You can learn even more at brt.org/tax2021. Catherine Schultz, Vice President, Tax and Fiscal Policy for the Business Roundtable. Thanks for talking with us. Paid for by Business Roundtable.
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change, like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir?
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Don't call us.
That's right. If you call and we're not live, you can leave a message and we'll call you back to get you on the air with Ron. 855-560-9900. Speaking of Ron, here he is.
As a matter of fact, here's Ron, and Ron's going to go over to Bill in Iowa, talk to him about his 38 Chevy. Bill, welcome back, sir. How's your car today?
Hey, great, buddy.
Yeah.
Vacuum Advanced Distributor. That car started out with that, with a 217. I put a 235 in it. Runs perfect. Do I gain anything by putting electronic ignition in that Vacuum Advanced Distributor?
Yeah, you might get a little more reliability and no more leaning over the fender to play with points, which I think is half the romance of those vehicles.
Yes.
And then whose electronic ignition you're going to put in it? I hear some good things about Petronix. I've never played with it. It'd be wonderful if you could adapt a GM electronic ignition system to it, because those things were fairly reliable. The question is, whose parts will you have in it, and how old will they be?
Yes.
So, Bill, it's just becoming harder and harder to enjoy the hobby and to keep things going like they are. For my money, I would probably, because ease of access, how hard is it to get to on a 38? I'd probably leave the regular points there unless I could find the right distributor. And
it's running perfect. It runs perfect.
Right.
And we're going on the Southwest Iowa Cruisers on the 10th of October. That's a Sunday. And we're running 11 towns, 200 miles. You can get on and off anytime. And it's going to start in Corinda, Iowa. And we're going through the loose hills, getting to Sioux City.
My Tom Ray has been out your way in Iowa doing some work on radio stations, he tells me, and he says that is beautiful country. He says it's just a wonderful ride and beautiful scenery to really enjoy. So you guys should have a good time. Is there a website the listeners can go to if they want to get more information on that? For the folks out of Iowa?
Probably, but I don't have it.
Yeah. What's the name of the cruise?
I'm from the old school.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm going to keep you away from electronic ignition. What's the name of the cruise again, Bill?
Southwest Iowa Cruisers out of Corning, Iowa. Okay. And we start in different towns every fall. Last year we started in Griswold, went 200 miles. This year we're starting in Corinda. And where I live, I'll just pick up on it west of me instead of going down to Corinda 50 miles and then back. So
it's really kind of fun. In the sense that, you think about how we used to drive these cars everywhere. And, I was talking to my friend Jimmy, Shelby Jimmy, I call him, because I've known Jimmy I've known Jimmy 50 years, and he's always had this 66 Shelby. He just came back from a 3-hour ride into Pennsylvania with the Shelby. So if everybody wants to know who was the lunatic driving the $150,000 Shelby around, it was Jimmy. He just doesn't care. To him, it's a car. He cracks me up all the time. He just drives blue. He drives the wheels off it, and that's what you're supposed to do.
The best thing that I have accomplished is I left my car stock. I didn't put the V8 in it back in the 60s. I've had it since 62.
Right.
And I enjoy the hell out of it. We drive it to shows and everything. I got it insured with State Farm. for $20,000.
Probably not enough.
Well, yes and no.
I was reading an article the other day that they're talking about how there is a dwindling supply of original cars of all ages, makes, and models, and that's probably true.
Yeah.
There's just not. They're only original once, and you look at some of the things everybody's doing to them, and they're, I've got a '72 Monte Carlo, no secret. Car's bone stock. I'm really torturing myself. Do I want to put? I've got a cast iron intake and a quadrajet from a '72 era small block, so it would look like a factory install. But it won't be factory anymore. I'll take the 2-barrel off. And I got to tell you, I get in the car, I don't even pump the gas. I just turn the key, and the car the engine barely cranks half a turn, and it just fires right up. And I look at Danny every morning, and I go, I can only screw this car up from here. I can only make this worse. I just can't make it better. So I understand. I really do.
I go on a high every time I drive it.
Yeah,
and I drive it monthly. We got it in a nice garage. It's part of the family, Ron, and it's just priceless.
Yeah, well, it is. And, it's interesting, and I don't know if you've had this experience, but I watch and I call them kids, the 12, the 15, the 18-year-olds. They'll wander into the shop with their parents, and they'll see this old Monte Carlo tucked in the corner, and their eyes always get big, and they always get inquisitive, and they always get curious. And, it's nobody's doing that with modern cars. It's just, they're just, and,
So where are we going to go if this electric cars all come in and we've lost all our combustion? Do we just put these vintage cars in the corner?
I don't know. I'm
not going to see it.
Bill, you know what? I ask myself that question. These guys that have these Hemi Cudas that they say are worth, $1 million because there's only so many of them made and so forth. You just wonder, right? What will happen to those cars? Is it going to be I don't know. I don't know, Bill. Listen. Keep the calls coming in. Let us know how you make out after the cruise. Go have a good rest of the weekend, and we look forward to talking to you again. I'm Ron Ananian, the Car Doctor. We are back right after this. Don't go away.
In the land of diamonds, Mervis is king. Make her queen with a gorgeous Mervis diamond. Before you go down on one knee, visit Mervis Diamond Importers. With a huge selection of high-quality diamonds at fair prices, Mervis Diamond is Washington's first choice. At Mervis, you'll receive a free diamond education and no pressure to buy. Our diamonds make a statement. They say, you know value. 9 out of 10 brides choose Mervis. The 10th is still speechless. Check our reviews at mervisdiamond.com. Again, that's mervisdiamond.com.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Is that Shakespeare?
Nope, it's Geico.
Yeah, that's Shakespeare from one of his unpublished works. Oh, it be not for awakening. Nay, giveth thou the berries. For 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
No, it's from Geico, because they help save people money.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Geico got it from Shakespeare.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You may be wondering why Doctors Community Medical Center added Luminous Health to our name. It's because we're on a mission to give you and our community even more of the health care that you deserve. That's why we joined Anne Arundel Medical Center to create a broader health system that is Luminous Health. Now delivering you and your family access to more locations, services, and specialty care. Get ready for a bright future with Luminous Health Doctors Community Medical Center. Go to luminoushealth.org to learn more.
Just take your place in the driver's seat. Driver's seat. Driver's seat.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Doing all right.
Welcome back. We're on the Car Doctor here at 855-560-9900. Real quick, I just want to point out, if you go out to, and this is brand new on their website, servicesolutions.mala, M-A-H-L-E, servicesolutions.mala.com. they now have technical videos up there. It's really a nice video library that you can log into. You've got to give them some information, obviously, and you're going to set up a password for your account and go in, and you can look at things that will talk about fundamentals of air conditioning operation, engine and fuel systems, and just some really solid videos, good clear-cut information. So they've got a wonderful resource going now. It's up on the servicesolutions.mala.com website. You'll find it there. And the folks over at Autel have been busy as well. Autel is now partnered with Motor Information Systems so that if you've got an Autel scan tool, you can log directly in from your scan tool, subscription-based, I believe, that you can, by VIN. And this is the neat part. You've already logged in the vehicle. You've already told it it's a 2019 Chevy pickup, and you can go in. It'll automatically transfer the VIN into the motor information and bring it up. You can look at wiring diagrams, service bulletins, specs, manufacturer information. Good stuff. You'll find more about that over at the Autel website, which is autel.com, and then just follow it along if you want to read more about it. So some good things from both Autel and Mala, as I pointed out there, as I've said. I want to talk to you real quick, a recent article that Research Kathy gave to me, and this one comes to us from Forbes. And, we look hard at these articles that we see so much about with regards to electric vehicles, that they are, are they just writing for the sake of writing, or is there any validity to it? This one's got some validity, and it brings out some good points that I hadn't thought about. This article talks about building out electric vehicle charging in the West. It's titled "Means All Hands on Deck." It's written by Stacy Noblet. I hope I'm saying that right. And she goes on to say in the article that the government, utilities, automakers, and technology providers alike are working hard to establish a plug-in electric vehicle charging network across the country. And I hadn't thought about this. Electrify America, an organization, recently completed its first cross-country EV charging route. The article goes on to say the U.S. Department of Energy hosted a charging station locator, and Apple launched a routing feature last month to its Maps app to help electric vehicle drivers locate charge ports along the way. And that's promising, as the article points out. Here's the issue. It's the eastern half of the United States is home to the more metro areas and greater opportunities for intercity electric vehicle travel. But the rural areas throughout the West lack sufficient electrical infrastructure and the amenities to make a sustainable, widespread EV charging effort. How are they going to do it? And this article goes on to point out that this is a challenge that they have to overcome. There are obviously unique challenges with increased electric mobility. You can drive from New Jersey to the Grand Canyon, but you need to charge that electric vehicle somewhere along the way. And because the West is, I don't want to say undeveloped, but it's not as populated as the eastern part of the country is, the article points out some of the issues and some of the problems that we've got to do, and we've got to get going on this because, it's going to be a problem. She closes out the article talking about the current economic crisis and the challenges related to plug-in vehicle adoption. It's especially important today, she points out, to have key players like utility companies seeding the market, because the utility companies have the ability to build out the infrastructure and to put their dollars where they need to be put. So, good article in Forbes. It might be worth looking at. Go out to Forbes.com and just search for electric vehicle charging, and I think you'll find it interesting. Let's get over to Ken in Virginia, 17 Explorer, and some problems with a front windshield washer pump. Ken, welcome to the Car Doctor, sir. How can I help?
Yes, I can wash my windows on my back window, so it tells me that the pump is working okay, but I get nothing on the two washers on my front windshield.
Okay.
Now, can I disconnect? I'm trying to find a place to disconnect that hose to see if it stopped up where it stopped up.
Well, is it stopped up, or, have you done something as simple as key on, engine off? Have you just tried to push the button? If you push the button, do you hear the windshield washer pump run?
Yes, I do.
So you do. So we know the pump's working from the switch, so we know it's got to be a hose, right? So
right.
The washer bottle is on. I'm trying to remember. My wife's got this exact same car, and I just put fluid in it the other day. If I'm not mistaken, the washer bottle's on the, I want to say, passenger side?
That's correct.
Okay.
Right, up all the way up front.
Right. So you're going to see that the hose comes up and lays along that inner fender well, and then
That's right.
They hide it, and it then goes into the cowl area and makes a right turn and then gets attached up to the hood. That's
right.
There's a connection there. There is.
I see the connection and the hose turns, but I can't get that thing apart.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just so baked on there. Is there enough slack in the hose that if you... I just want to see, do you get fluid out that where the T is? Do you get fluid there? All right. Is there enough slack in the hose? Is it rubber hose? I'm trying to remember what it looks like. Is it rubber hose or hard plastic?
Yeah, it's black, about 1/4-inch black hose.
Right, soft.
And I have a little play in it.
Okay.
I was thinking about cutting it and then splicing it back.
That's where I'm going, brother. Just it's soft black rubber hose, correct, Ken?
Yes.
Yeah. So why don't we do that and just get it off? Listen, worst case scenario. All right, if you cut it and it's too short to get back on the nipple, you could cut the hose more, go to your local parts house and get 2 splices, right? 2 hard plastic splices with a longer section of hose and splice or one splice and then the other end would go on the nipple, and you can just repair it and put it back in line.
Sure, I didn't know that they had that kind of stuff there.
Yeah,
so
they should.
Good.
They should. It's back in the day when cars had vacuum lines, we would have black plastic, or we would have hard white plastic or black plastic. We had nipples, we had Ys, we had 3-way Ts of various diameters, inside diameter. So there's something there that can be done. So I don't see that as an issue. My guess is if you've got fluid coming out there at that hose, I'm trying to recall there might be a check valve in line leading to the nozzles. And I'm wondering if the check valve is stuck or not working.
Well, if you recall, on the hood of this car, there's a black insulator, and it looks to me like it looks like it's difficult to get down,
right?
To get off of and the black hose goes up behind that over to the 2 areas that pump water on the windshield.
Okay. So can we get to that insulator or that black? Well, I call it a check valve. Can we get to where the nipple comes up to that and look to see, do we have fluid?
Well, I'm looking up there now.
Or let's do it like this. First of all, you're sure you key on engine off so you can hear. You're sure you push the front washers. You're sure that pump runs.
Yes, I am.
Okay, cut the hose.
Well, the pump also pumps for the rear window, doesn't
right.
it?
But I just want to see. Okay. I just want to see that the washer pump. I just want to see that the front switch is capable of tripping the pump.
Yes. Well, I can wash my back window with no problem.
Right, but the back window circuit uses a different switch than the front window circuit, right?
That's true. But the front switch does work. At one time, I had just a little bubble to come out,
right,
in the front washers, but then all of a sudden it stopped. So
okay.
I'm thinking that hose is stopped up.
Right, I'm thinking it is too, and I'm betting it's by the insulator. But listen, never eliminate a step. You want to know how to look stupid doing auto repair? Eliminate a step. It's like well, you want to plan your future. Talk to God. Watch what He does. All right.
You're right. So, well, I'm an old shade tree mechanic, so
you know where I'm going with this, brother. It'll take you 2 seconds.
Okay. Well,
key on engine off.
What I'm going to try tomorrow afternoon in my garage is to cut that hose and see if it's pumping and eliminate problems as I go, and right. I'm going to follow your directions up there to the check valve.
Yeah, you do that. You call me back next week if you need more. All right?
I'll do it.
All right. You be well. Take good care, Ken. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Bye-bye. I'm Ron Ananian, the Car Doctor. We're back right after this.
Millions of Americans are getting back to work. CareerBuilder calls it the Great Rehire. And we want to help you get the best jobs before everyone else. CareerBuilder gives you the competitive edge to get the job you want, at the salary you want, with the benefits you want. We even send job alerts, so your perfect job lands right in your inbox. Go to CareerBuilder.com today, or get left with whatever jobs are left. Find your next job fast at CareerBuilder.com.
The greatest diamonds in the world are found at Mervis. Before you pop the question, visit Mervis Diamond Importers. With a huge selection of quality diamonds at fair prices, Mervis Diamond is the region's first choice. At Mervis, you'll receive a free diamond education and no pressure to buy. Our diamonds say, you know value. Great diamonds and fabulous prices. It's the Mervis way. That's why Mervis was honored by Washington Post as best place to buy a diamond. Check our reviews at mervisdiamond.com. Again, that's mervisdiamond.com.
Geico knows there are many reasons why you ride. From the exciting adventure of the daily commute to the peace of mind that Geico always has your back with 24/7 access to claim service and legendary customer service. But Pamela Mund had one reason in particular.
My skin is extremely averse to most fabrics, except for the soft, buttery feeling of leather. Thankfully, I found my clan of leather lovers in the biking community. It's been life-changing.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
After 6 hours of school, I had enough for the day. I hit the radio dial and turned it up all the way. I got a dance.
Welcome back. Ron Ananian, the Car Doctor, rolling along at 855-560-9900. And I should point out, if you call and we're not here, leave a message. Tom Ray, executive producer, will call you back and get you in the queue for the next live broadcast. 855-560-9900, the 24/7 number. Let's get over and talk to James in Vermont, 064 runner, and some questions about transfluid flushing. James, welcome to the Car Doctor. How can I help?
Yeah, thank you. I love your show. I always head out for a ride when your show comes on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So my question is, I have an 06 V8 4Runner, and the dealership, Toyota dealership, tells me it has 108,000 miles on it, and they tell me that I should flush my transmission fluid, but the service manual, I believe, says if I'm not doing, or if I'm only doing light towing, that I shouldn't touch it till I believe 150,000 miles. And that's one of my questions. The second one part of it is I heard that flushing can knock a lot of debris away from things that would actually just cause more problems. And should I flush it? When should I flush it? Or should I just drain it and fill it? Or what? I guess I'm looking for some advice on that.
So you've never serviced the trans is what you're telling me?
Yeah, or the front differential, whatever.
Okay.
The front,
so, first of all, you're 50,000 miles late on all the driveline fluids short the trans. Although we normally do the trans fluids on the Toyotas around that 60 to 75,000 mile mark. It just seems like a good sweet spot for it. So change the rest of the driveline fluid. I'll tell you, here's the scoop on the trans. Transmission fluid by nature is a very high detergent, very high scrubbing action type of fluid. The problem is, it, like any other fluid such as that, it will leave a varnish ring. It will leave sediment inside the trans. So you're going to put fresh fluid in where old fluid was that's partially worn out. The fluid's lost some of its properties. And you're going to scrub some of that varnish off the walls of the trans. What makes an automatic transmission work? Hydraulic pressure. Tiny passages. All right? So now you run the risk of clogging something or restricting something and affecting trans operation. Have you looked at the fluid to determine color? How bad or beat up is the fluid itself? Have you looked at any of this?
No, I haven't touched the transmission or the front end four-wheel drive part. Never looked at it, never touched it, and it's 108,000 miles. So do I flush it and cross my fingers, or do I just drain it and fill it and cross my fingers?
I'm a mild goes wild kind of guy. If it were me, I would start with a drain and fill. All right, and look for a reaction, and then 3,000 to 5,000 miles later, I would do an exchange. Don't call it a flush. A flush denotes pressure. You can do this as simply as disconnecting the transcooler lines at the bottom of the radiator. Figure out which is the feed, which is the return. Dump the feed into a pan. Let it dump the fluid out through the return. Fill it through the rest. And, through the side of the trans, or if there's a dipstick tube in this, do it the other way. If they've got a machine, or if you're going to take it to the dealer and they're going to do it through a machine, let them hook a machine up and they'll fill fluid through it. Do it mildly first. My argument is the doctor says if you don't stop smoking the next 2 years, something bad's going to happen. Do you stop right away? Do you wait 2 years and get the 2 years out of it? Or do you do it now all the way wholeheartedly and try and go for it? Is the glass half full, half empty kind of a thing. I'd like to approach it little by little. If I'm planning to keep the vehicle, I want clean fluid in there. and I want to avoid the problem. Chances are you'll avoid the problem. That should be WS Toyota Tran Fluid. They're world-class stuff. I'm surprised it lasted this long without any kind of an issue. I'm willing to bet that it's in pretty good shape, pretty good color, because you're probably pretty easy on it. But changing it can only make it better and help the vehicle last longer. Just my 2 cents. You may have.
So what you're saying is just drain it and fill it, drive it for a few months or whatever, get 8,000 or 10,000 miles on it, and then if everything's good, then flush it.
Right. Well, don't flush it, exchange it, and don't do it 8 to 10,000 miles. I'd do it 5. I'd do it in 5. Do a drain and fill, do it in 5, see what color the fluid is that comes out. And then if you want to consider dropping the pan, although dropping the pan, usually there's not much to see because it's a brass screen. So, that to me, if you're planning to keep the vehicle and get the most out of it, fluid service is normally part of it on anything. It doesn't matter what you're driving. And by all means, change the gear oils, front and rear diff, and change the transfer case fluid too. That's just recommended real-world maintenance, condensation, age, mileage, etc. Good luck to you. I'm Ron Ananian, the Car Doctor. We're back right after this.
This episode is brought to you by ABC. ABC is bringing some serious heat on Thursdays with all new seasons of Station 19 and Grey's Anatomy. After surviving the unthinkable, Meredith now faces an impossible choice. Stay at Grace Sloan with the people she loves or start a new chapter. Plus, did you see who showed back up in Mare's life last week? Can't wait to see where this is going. Don't miss an all-new Grey's Anatomy Thursday at 9/8 Central on ABC and stream it on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Cheerios Oat Crunch. The rhythm for your family's day starts with breakfast, but it can be hard to set a positive tempo when your routine gets hectic. Make a good morning great with Cheerios Oat Crunch Almond. Topped with whole grain oats and sliced almonds, it's a breakfast your whole family will love. With an extra crunchy crunch, you'll feel the beat in every bite, filling you with positivity to turn a good morning into a great day. Try new Cheerios Oat Crunch Almond by picking up a box at your local grocery store. Also available in cinnamon or oats and honey.
Carefree highway, let me slip away on you. Carefree highway, you've seen better days.
Welcome back. Ron Ananian, the Car Doctor. I love this time of year. I really do. And it's fall. It's cruising season, right? It's easy to drive the old cars. There's just something about, a muscle car, a hot rod, the old classic, and the crisp autumn air. But the best part about fall is we're 1 month until the big trade show in Vegas, SEMA Apex. And the best part is this is when all the manufacturers come out with their new, products. And it's just fun to just look and see who's coming out with what. And one in particular, if you go out to LaunchTechUSA.com, our friends at Launch are hard at it again, the X431 Throttle 3. They've now incorporated so many features into the 431 Throttle 3, and is in some of their previous stuff, but they've made it a bigger screen, a faster processor. They've got ADAS calibration in there. They're doing their usual bidirectional controls. It appears to be a wireless connection to the vehicle, that they're really advancing things further and further up the scale. Launch has always played hard in the scan tool game, and this one looks like it's going to really deliver as in their past products. So you want to get out to LaunchTechUSA.com to see what's new and what's coming your way for the next year as we continue to try and fix cars all across America. I'm Ron Ananian, the Car Doctor, reminding you each and every time, good mechanics aren't expensive. They're priceless. See ya.
You may be wondering why Doctors Community Medical Center added Luminous Health to our name. It's because we're on a mission to give you and our community even more of the health care that you deserve. That's why we joined Anne Arundel Medical Center to create a broader health system that is Luminous Health. Now delivering you and your family access to more locations, services, and specialty care. Get ready for a bright future with Luminous Health Doctors Community Medical Center. Go to luminoushealth.org to learn more.